or patient part after getting consent, and then we further deal with the examination, physical examination, in order to know the range of motion or muscle power, contracture, if it is there. So these are the small things, or but important thing. They are going to create a good amount of information for us to understand whether the socket would be, how the socket design. But this is not enough here. We can say the socket design not only the medical or clinical evaluation, but also patient other needs, like patient activity need, what patient want to do with the prosthesis. So that is also going to affect the socket design. What is the patient participation need, or what is the environmental condition patient is in. All these are going to affect the socket design together with the whole prosthetic design. Okay, so we have to understand all these factors so that we must assess as a detail. Detailed assessment is very important. And must be saying that patient overall assessment is more important than just the stump evaluation. So stump evaluation is important, but overall assessment of the patient is most important. After getting these information on the stump, after evaluating the stump, we go for the either casting or digital scanning, so that to get the stump, either replica of the stump, either as a soft copy or as a hard physical copy. So what is in general we know as a prosthesis? When we say transtibial prosthesis, it could be a design of prosthesis could be, means overall prosthesis design in the transtibial could be exoskeleton or endoskeleton. So here the picture is saying what could be the component of exoskeleton or endoskeleton. We can see the socket, wooden shin or extension block, ankle block, bolt nut, ankle, sad foot. These are the, means foot is just a one type of foot I mentioned here, sad foot, but there could be different other foots also. So these are the exoskeleton component, and there could be endoskeleton, which is also known as modular component. Modular means it has got different parts which are modular. They are adjustable compared to the exoskeleton, which is non-adjustable. Means once you fix a socket into the socket block, socket mounting we call. Once you mount it, you cannot change the flexion adduction angles. But in the case of your endoskeleton, this is possible, and therefore they are modular. Now, going in detail of socket, because our main topic of today is socket design, design variations. So we are going to further detail of what are the socket. What is we understand by socket, first of all? Biomechanical interface between stump and rest of the prosthesis. Okay, so basically it's a connection. Socket is a connection between the patient and the prosthesis parts. So prosthesis parts means all the parts. It could be the shank and the foot. In case of transtibial, in the case of transfemoral, it could be the knee, shank and foot. But mainly the socket is the basically connector. It's a connection. It's just like our joint. We can say that the socket is kind of a joint, but it's a pseudo joint, because it is not actually, we do not want to have it as a joint, but it is working like a joint. An example, like what do you know about the knee joint? Knee joint is a joint. Why? Because there are two links, the femur link and the tibial link are connecting there, and therefore knee is a joint. After the amputation through the tibia, the connection with the ankle, how it will happen, ankle and foot connection will happen through the joint. So that joint is the socket. And socket, we know, therefore we are learning socket because this joint is very important. And this joint is pseudo joint because we are saying that this is a joint, but we do not want to have a motion like joint. We do not want the socket to have much pseudo motion or pistoning with the stump. We want the socket should be integral with the stump. But that is going to be difficult, and therefore different variants are there. And newly variant is the osseointegration, you also know, right? Osseointegration is the newest form of interface between the prosthesis and the stump. Socket is something we in general know mostly. So what are the main function that socket gives? After giving connection, it is also providing comfort and protection, most important protection. Because it's, as a prosthetist and orthotist, mostly we know that the socket is for providing the function. But functions are many, right? Many types of functions are there. Our patients in the OPD or in the indoor IPD, they are lying down and doing different activities before getting a prosthesis, right? Like patient getting exercises before getting prosthesis. But they are without any support or any protection of the stump which is amputated. So there the socket is very important. A socket which can protect the stump from getting injured during the physical exercises. So this is, we can understand that the socket is not just for the prosthesis, it is also for the basic work like different exercises during the IPD activity or patient doing at home just after the amputation. So what other thing socket is doing basically, apart from giving protection and comfort, socket is also providing dynamic force transfer. So basically it transfer forces between the patient body and the ground direction force. That means with the ground. So when the patient is loading his prosthesis on the ground, this is the connection which will dissipate the forces which are coming from the ground or the forces which are coming from the up. So these forces need to be dissipated if the patient has to feel comfortable. So this is the main function of the socket. Socket has to dissipate or redistribute the forces so that the patient feel comfortable. And therefore we call it a new kind of proprioceptive feedback is provided by the socket. Because in general we know our main load is being borne by our plantar surface of the heel or plantar surface. Because of amputation that has gone. Now our stump has to become ready for taking load, and therefore new type of proprioceptive feedback need to be given, and that need to be comfortable as well as protective. It should not be causing any injury, complication, and therefore socket. Next is to capture the motion of the residual joint. So residual joint is our knee joint in the case of transtibial. So its role of the socket is to catch the motion of the knee joint. So how much it is able to catch is something depends upon the socket design. Our socket design, as I said, the best capturing of motion of knee joint is possible when the bone is directly fixed to the rest of the prosthesis, and that is possible by osteointegration. But that is very difficult in the tropical country like ours, and therefore socket designs of different varieties are there that we will be learning are possible. They are going to help in providing the capturing of motion of the residual joint. What happens when the patient walks?